All right. How's everyone doing? I am Rich Celenza. Thanks for checking out my show. So what I'm going to talk about today is retirement and how it may not be the answer. I don't know how I'm going to title it. And first of all, I want to say up front, I'm not here telling anybody from a financial situation when the right time is to retire or anything regarding finances on this podcast because one is I don't know enough about it. I'm not some financial advisor by any means. I don't know when it is for anyone when the right or wrong time is to retire, especially if they have their own business or if they're working for someone or whatever their lifestyle is in general. That's not what I'm going to be talking about. What I'm going to kind of be talking about is where I think a lot of people retire and then kind of fall into the shitter mentally and physically. And the reason I know this pretty well is because I've been coming to the state of Florida throughout my entire life, starting at about 5 years old. And really back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and still now to this day, a lot of people come here to retire. I've seen it throughout my entire life. And actually Arizona as well, I'd say. I have a lot of family in Arizona as well, so I've seen some people retire there as well. And kind of what I want to talk about in this podcast, I've seen people retire and live unbelievable lives. Really exceptional, get a lot done, have fun, actually get healthier, spend more time with their family, friends, maybe colleagues that they used to work with, travel a lot. And I've also seen a lot of people retire. And I don't know what happens to them, but they just kind of collapse a lot of times. Now, I'm also going to say, I am not here to tell people, if you're in a certain position regarding retiring, not to get out, and not retire. That's not what I'm saying. I'm going to really kind of emphasize that because what I'm talking about is after you retire, the lifestyle, you're living. If you know anything about me, I talk a lot about anti-aging and setting yourself up from the future physically. I'm not a financial guy. I'm kind of more of a guy who tries to help people, put a value on their health and wellness. So like I'm 50 now, I'm trying to think about what am I going to feel like? What's the type of condition am I going to be in when I'm 70, 80, or if I'm planning on living longer from a physical aspect, not financial. There's two different things. And I think a lot of people, and I discussed this on previous podcasts, kind of blend the two or really only care about their financial situation after they retire. Will they have enough money to survive on? All these different types of things. Will I be able to leave money for my family if I pass away? And if I do pass away, do I have enough money to cover the expenses and all that? That's totally different, right? But when you think about your health, or people not thinking about their health when they become 70, 80, or in that age, demographic. And, but back to the retirement situation again. If you are planning on retiring, I don't care, what age you are now, it's not just about doing nothing. I think a lot of people think, man, I just can't wait to retire. I can kind of just do whatever the hell I want to do, which is wonderful. I mean, that's amazing. But what are you going to do with a lot of your free time? I've seen even a lot of my family members and people I know, what I think happens a lot of with people, especially if you got money, is it becomes more about kind of being fat. And I don't mean the expression fat heavy. I mean like money-wise. You now have a lot of time on your hands to do a lot of things you wanted to do, which is great. It could be travel again, go on cruises, fly all over the world. But when they retire, they just seem to neglect their health. I've discussed this too a lot of times. When people retire and they have some money, a lot of their life is about waking up, say, going to breakfast or eating breakfast or then going to lunch, right? Out. A lot of times they're all, if you're with your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, family members, you're at one meal talking about where to meet up or what you're going to do on your next meal. Because it's a big part, I think, of retiring a lot of times is people eating and going out more and doing things as kind of seniors. And all this eating out will take a toll on them, especially if they're not working out. And I also see a lot of people that think they're taking care of their health because they'll do some type of exercise. But it does not offset, all the eating or all the type of foods they're eating as well. So I've seen this so many times in my life in South Florida. I've been going there my whole life, and I'll see older people in the pool, which is wonderful, doing some form of exercise or even walking on the beach, right? But I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of times, depending on how much of that you do, it's not enough. You got to try to be as active as possible when you're retired. That does not mean, I shouldn't say it to that level, not burning yourself out, but you should be walking more than just maybe walking on the beach in the morning for 10, 15 minutes. Maybe more than just doing, 15 laps in the pool. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're doing all these other things, or let's put it this way, if you sit around and watch TV for X amount of time, say it's an extra 4 or 5 hours a day, and then you're sitting in a restaurant, and then say you may even go to a little casino, you're sitting there for hours in a retirement, because I know a lot of people do that. Sometimes, even if you're traveling, you're on an airplane, you get somewhere, you're then sitting, eating, then you're laying in a hotel, then you're sitting around the pool. And again, I want everyone, though, to create the life that they desire. Believe me. But I do want people to understand that a lot of times when you retire from a physical standpoint, you do not want to let yourself go. You have to figure out something that is going to work for you where you kind of, if you're overweight when you retire, we want to get you to a better weight because, we don't want you to get heavier. That's for sure, right? We don't want you to have to maybe get caught up with type 2 diabetes. And it happens to a lot of people. And a lot of people, too, as they aged through their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, let's face it, they have beaten their body up. By the time they retire, which is, I don't know what the average age of retirement is now, especially during COVID, 65, 70, what type of condition are they in? We, again, want to start figuring out a way how to feel better. Because maybe you had a physical labor job where you were beating the shit out of yourself. Or maybe you owned a company and the mental stress drove you crazy. I get it, but after you retire, maybe you don't have all that on you. So you have to kind of let that go and start a new life, but a healthier life. So I don't want to get long-winded on this, but I think you know what I'm talking about. But please, take care of yourself and come up with a plan again, because I know, I will wrap it up with this. A lot of people come up with financial plans, which is wonderful after they retire. Think of a physical plan. Now, you may be like, I don't know that till I get there, Rich. Well, listen, I'm going to just tell you, if you're 65 or whatever the age, hey, I'm going to join a gym if you never did before. Or if you have been working out, just because you're retired doesn't mean you should quit a gym or do less working out because you're retiring. I'd say do more exercise because the more you do as you get older, I'm telling you, the better off you're going to feel. The more energy you're going to have, too, I believe. Sure, it's going to take energy. You're older. And, you may have to rest more. On the other end, you may have to sleep a little more, maybe take more naps. But if you're exercising and you're active, that's going to go a long, long way. But again, after you retire, let's come up with a physical plan, like I said, not just only going to the gym. Again, maybe walking on the beach if that's where you're at, or maybe it's, maybe paying attention more to your nutrition. Maybe saying, hey, I'm not going to eat out all the time. I'm not going to eat junk food. Or I'm going to start learning more about what type of foods my body needs at that point in time. Because I do think, a lot of times with retirement or older people, I should say, and it's hard, I think a lot of them visit the hospital a lot, which is understandable. But maybe coming up with alternatives, too, that are going to make you feel better, not just maybe taking certain types of pills or certain type of treatments. Now, if you need whatever you need to do for your health, I want you to do. But what I'm trying to say is maybe study more and saying, hey, I want to, I know people that were on, say, certain type of meds, and then they figured out, hey, I could get off these meds if I, lose some weight, for instance. I'll just use that, for example. Or if I start eating better, I don't have to maybe take these type of meds. I won't have to, have all these checkups, and I may not have all these issues. So anyways, I could go on and on. But, yeah, that's all I really wanted to go through with this podcast, because I know sometimes I talk a lot about the youth and younger people, but I know I have an audience that are sometimes older as well, men and women. And, a lot of people think about retirement, especially some of my friends and family members that are around my age in their 50s. And a lot of times they're talking about, I can't wait to just quit my job when I'm 60, or I can't wait. I have friends now in their 50s that were in the military that are retiring, people that work for the government that are retiring. And a lot of times they're like, Rich, what am I going to do? A lot of them will start another job or go into real estate or start taking on other hobbies to keep themselves busy. But I'm like, what are you going to do for your health? I always say that to them. They're like, well, I don't know, maybe I'll just join a gym or maybe I'll just work out here and there. I'm like, no, you have more time than you've ever had. Let's really start focusing in on this because, you feel good now in your 50s or you're in still pretty decent shape. Let's keep that going. Let's not lighten up on that. So, and one more thing, if you do retire, be careful because I do notice a lot of times people when they retire a lot of times take on other things to do that become more stressful than what they did before. which can happen. But I'm just telling you, don't underestimate that happening as well, or your finances. A lot of your finances you may have not, your money may not go as far as you thought. So be aware of that as well, because that's going to also bring a lot of stress. And if that is the case, we could get creative and figure out ways on how to, exercise, stay healthy, and it not costing a lot of money. You just got to get, like I said earlier, creative. If you need help with any of this stuff, just let me know. I'm at rich@richcelenza.com. I help with anti-aging. And also www.richcelenza.com is my website. All right, take care, everyone.